Chorus Voices, the podcast brought to you by Chorus, a fresh approach to community service. Settle in, listen in, and enjoy the voices who bring you reflections, musings, and stories from our community.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Chorus Voices. I am CEO Dan Minchin.
I'm Head of Brand and People, Lou Forster.
We've got a conversation about something very close to our hearts and just about everybody's heart.
Yeah, and a little bit more light-hearted than some of our more serious episodes lately. Today we're going to talk about family.
Yeah, so everyone's got one of some shape or other, and there is sort of complications and messiness as well as joy and love in many families and most families. What does family mean to you, Lou?
I guess the first thing I go back to when I think about family is my nan and granddad. I had a really, really close relationship with them, and so that's kind of where I go automatically. And that's kind of childhood to me, their house, the relationship, everything about it. And that, my wedding ring is my nan's, and, wedding vows, we wanted to create a house that was, an inviting house for people, family and friends like theirs. So I guess maybe in creating my family, there's something about my connection to my nan and granddad that is really deep.
It does sort of pass down, doesn't it? And there are positives and negatives in everyone's family story. My family that I have now, 3 teenage children and my wife Tamara, we run our family, I think, a lot in line with the way I grew up. One of 4, and sort of a lot of focus on ensuring the family stayed bonded and connected and close to each other, and we do things like that now, and being committed to family meals and things like that, and family holidays without too many interlopers, and it's sort of a deliberate intent to sort of make sure the family unit functions and it's a sort of warm and supportive place, which isn't to say it's not without its friction and like I said, complications and messiness.
I was listening to something the other day that was talking about grief, and people were saying, when you lose someone, often it's the day-to-day, almost like insignificant things that you miss the most, which is really interesting because often we're trying to do these really outstanding things with our families, these big holidays and create these amazing memories, but actually sometimes it's the small conversations or the meals or around the kitchen that are the things that people apparently miss the most.
Back when I was growing up, there was a lot of talk about quality time. You spend quality time with people, and my dad used to just say, no, it's just quantity time, and there was an episode of Modern Family, which is, again, captures all of the sort of up and downs of family life, and one of the characters, Jay, reflecting on it, just says it's mostly just about turning up. Which I just loved, and I'm also reminded of a father-son camp that I was involved in with my boy, who was about 10 at the time, and a whole of other boys and their dads. And they asked us all to sit in a campfire and talk about what we valued, what we liked most about each other, and all of these boys, mostly living reasonably, well set up family lives, talked about things like camping, kicking the footy, going to the beach. Half of these kids would have been skiing interstate, but they don't talk about that. They talk about the little things.
So between Judith and Lucy, they got out and about at Chorus and spoke to some of our colleagues. They spoke to Morris from the gardening team at the North Perth depot, Trish from our mental health team in Albany, Mary, who's the outgoing president at the Albany Senior Citizen Centre, and that's now part of Chorus, and Mary's now volunteering at the Albany Chorus Kitchen.
And a couple of Mary's colleagues, Ina and Taryn from the Chorus Kitchen in Albany, and finally Nikita, who's part of our Disability Employment Services program.
What does family mean to you?
Family's very important to me. You can really be yourself, warts and all, with them. It's because they know you better than anyone else. I have a lovely wife, Martine, and 2 little boys, Miles, who's 7, and Noah's 4. They're my grounding in life and make me laugh and cry at the same time.
Well, family is very important to me. It's one of the most important things in my life. I don't have many family members now in Australia, and the ones overseas are really spread out. But just a sense of closeness and just a nice warm feeling. Very important.
Family, closeness, understanding each other, being there for each other.
Family is the most important part of my life. I grew up in a family of 16, 8 boys and 8 girls. My mum and dad have since passed away, but our family is very, very close and we just all love each other so much.
Family to me is strength and weakness. My family is my world. I believe my family is what completes me, and I wouldn't be who I am today without them. Family to me is life.
What do you remember fondly about your family growing up?
Okay, I remember I grew up in England, spent the first 11 and a half years of my life in England, and Mum and Dad belonged to a camping club, and we used to go camping on weekends. Country areas. We loved going to the country areas and some seaside places. And one beautiful memory is waking up with my 2 sisters in the tent and opening the tent, and it was pristine white snow outside, and I saw a little rabbit, not a rabbit, a squirrel, and it was just pristine. So it was the first footprints they'd made in the snow. Lots of happy memories about that. And then the excitement of moving to Australia and becoming Australian.
How long ago was that?
Very long time ago now. 1968.
Well, we've always lived in Albany, and we lived on a farm which was almost in the middle of town. So we always had lots of friends because they always wanted to come to the farm, you see. So, the freedom, and I mean, Albany, you couldn't live anywhere else. Growing up, parents were pretty easy on us.
Things were different too. You had that freedom. It's probably the same for me, I grew up with my grandmother on a farm, and you only had 2 rules, and one was be home at 12 o'clock and one was to be home at 6 o'clock for tea. And if you did anything wrong in between, you knew she'd find out about it because someone would have dobbed you in by the time you got home. So she didn't have to say it for you to know.
Because I'm the youngest girl, I always had big brothers and big sisters to help me and take me places. I just love that, and that's what I remember about them. And they still do it. I'm number 12, down the bottom.
I grew up in Ireland in the 1980s, a family of 4 boys. We didn't have a lot of money or expensive toys, but I have very fond memories of when our dad built us a pool table from scratch. We had many great nights and playing games together on the pool table, with my mum telling us to keep the music down. And I just feel really sad that it's disappearing. Yeah. All this stuff, all this
technology.
That's the word. Technology.
Mostly each night at bedtime I would tuck each child, telling each one of them good night and that I love them. We started a game, a race, to who could yell out as quickly as possible before I could. I love you to infinity and beyond, padlock no return. Still today, as teenagers, the game is remembered and played at random.
How would you describe your family now?
My brothers and sisters I'm really close to, but now I've got 4 children of my own. I've got twin girls who are 33, and I've got a son who's 27 and a daughter who's getting married at the end of this year. She's 25, and we spend as much time as we can with each other. We just love family. We're always together.
My family. I have 4 amazing children aged 16, 17, 19 and 23. They drive me crazy, turn my hair grey, they are lazy, make constant mess and still struggle to pick up after themselves. But they are my all, my reason to get up, my reason to smile, my reason to embrace life. Today my family and I are extremely close, and I wouldn't be without them.
We're a small, very close family. Both my wife and I's extended families are not here in Perth, but we make a big effort to see them as often as we can.
I hear you're actually going to see your family tomorrow.
Yeah, I am. I'm flying out to Ireland tomorrow night. So, a bit of a short trip, but quite appropriate that I'm doing this interview now.
I come from a small family, so there was only my sister and I. My mum was an only child. My grandmother was an only child, so there's not many of us. And so my kids and my husband they are my family and very important to me, and they're the only ones that are close. So Yeah, all the rest of my extended family are spread from Japan to America to Queensland to all over the place. So, yeah, I appreciate the little family that I've got.
What family rituals do you have?
So our best family ritual is dinner time. This is a time that even with older children, I have stuck to one ritual in our home. We all sit together at dinner time at the table. There is no technology and we all communicate, laugh and share our days and our stories. This has been a time where some of our worst and best moments have been revealed. This time has been something that I personally cherish.
On New Year's Eve, we all pick out a name out of a hat and we buy each other a present. And then we buy funny presents as well, so we can all have a good laugh. And we've kept that up right through my childhood right to now. Yeah, so we still do that.
Church is a big thing to us. Our faith, our belief. Yep. The kids as well, all their families.
We always try to sit down together at the end of the day and have dinner. It's important to talk to your family and encourage your kids to share their stories of the day.
My girls, we like to have special catch-ups together. They're spread all around Australia. I've got 2 daughters. But we like to, when the younger one was having dance concerts, we used to like going to dance concerts, and going out for breakfast is pretty special. Going walking together. And they did lots of holidays with their dad as well, which they enjoyed. So that's their other family ritual.
I can't say I really have any rituals or anything like that. My kids are my most important thing. And when I'm not here, I'm basically running around after them, and I'm partly here because I am chasing around after them, driving horses up and down the highway every weekend with my daughter and things like that.
So our best family ritual is dinner time. This is a time that even with older children, I have stuck to one ritual in our home. We all sit together at dinner time at the table. There is no technology and we all communicate, laugh and share our days and our stories. This has been a time where some of our worst and best moments have been revealed. This time has been something that I personally cherish.
How would your close friends describe your family?
They would say we're crazy, but all the good ones are. My close friends love my family and they would say they are also their family. My idea of evolving is that my family is growing. Today, with new additions to the family, now being a nana to an amazing 2-year-old grandson and another one on the way, my family is growing, evolving into more people and more adventures.
You're a bit nutty.
What about you, Mary? That was Taryn's response.
Very balanced. Our family, they probably describe us as very balanced because they can't all see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They can't see
the boys are
behind the scenes.
very, 3 of them have got their own businesses and yeah.
When I say nutty, people think we're a bit crazy because we both work very long hours. And we do 1 million miles every second weekend, and we push everything to the envelope, and people kind of wonder how we stay on our feet. But again, it boils down to we do it because we love our kids and we're a family and we do everything together.
My close friends love my family and sometimes they're jealous of me, how close we are.
I'd say they'd see us as a tight family unit. We enjoy having friends and their kids around for dinners and play dates too.
So I'm probably lucky that we still live on a property.
Yeah.
And my daughter she actually came home one day from school and she'd started year 7 and they had a technology class and she was the only kid that hadn't played Minecraft and they all thought that she was strange. And I said, can they ride a horse? And so she said, no. I said, then they're weird. Yeah, my son's the opposite. He's addicted to, anything screen-like. But by the same token, we've got, a water trough that we haven't had a chance to put out the paddock yet. And at the moment, they're using that like an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So they're both spending every night out there splashing around in this water trough, So we still get to do things like that, not to the same extent that us kids did. You'd never disappear all day and go climb the rock and have a picnic and wander home at sunset. But my kids still get to do a little bit of that kind of stuff, which is nice.
They would describe my family as a very interesting family because we're quite multicultural. So my ex-husband comes from South Africa, so all my ex-in-laws, and I'm close to them still, they're from South Africa. And my dad remarried after my mum died. And so I've got siblings and step-siblings who are either Filipino or half Filipino. Yeah, it's very multicultural and very passionate people too. Like, we're all environmentally conscious as well and want to make a change in the world. Both my daughters want to make a change in the world. The older one's really into social justice and also environmental issues, and the younger one again, but she's really concentrating on the environment.
Yeah, so just fantastic for me to listen to all of those different stories of family from all those people across Chorus. And one of the reasons we're doing this podcast is to sort of share the Chorus mindset around families. I mean, that's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, warts and all. And I think that is quite telling of how we try to set up the environment here at Chorus, that you can come to work and be your true self, and there is support for that, and we don't have to be perfect and have a veneer on, and that we support each other and our colleagues in times of need as well.
And some people actually do sort of comment that Chorus has got a family type of feel to it. And it's not going to be the case all the time, and that doesn't suit everybody, and so I'm not pretending that that's consistent across Chorus, but there is a family feel about this organisation, which is what makes it welcoming. And we've got a little bit more from the Chorus community about that idea that Chorus is a bit like a family.
Karen, so tell me, what does family mean here at the Citizen Centre?
Family here at the centre is huge. When you take on a job, you take on a job as an individual, and as we've all been here for such a long time, we've worked here for an excess of 10 years, some of us. The centre has not only become our job, but it's also become part of our family's job as well, and so our centre family is very extended, from shoving husbands up ladders to clean fans, to having the men painting tables in the kitchen, to having my kids in here before school setting up for high teas, and my daughter making gingerbread Christmas trees with Sharon in the kitchen, and then to the disasters when we've had floods and we've had break-ins and all sorts of things. It really does become all hands on deck, and our jobs it's not a job, it becomes a way of life, and it becomes a bit of part of your soul, and that's happened with our extended families as well. So it really is an all hands on deck kind of place. Our fantastic chef Sharon, she's been with us for 6 years, and when we have a high tea on, both her girls are qualified chefs, and they'll be in here in the morning helping her out, making cakes and lamingtons and all sorts of things, and it's great fun, and we wouldn't have been able to survive this long without having it that way, because there's so many man hours put into the centre and what we do behind the scenes and after hours by people that nobody ever sees, and that's what the centre family has turned into and become. It's the main reason why we're still here, and we're all really, really proud of it.
You've been here, you're the president, you've been the president here for 11 years.
Yeah.
And a volunteer for nearly 40.
And even the volunteering works on a family.
Yeah.
And I think because I have a sister and two sisters-in-law that also do Meals on Wheels, and if you can't do it, we'll ring each other and fill in for each other, or the husbands come along, or, so when we're away on holidays, the other lot will do it. And so, yeah, I think there's others that work like that as well, that'll get the family to fill in for them. And I think that's volunteering, that's what it's about, really. Yeah, it does get other people involved, doesn't it?
Yeah, and even the attitude of the management committee. When my son was born, he became the centre mascot. He actually came to work with me for the first 18 months and until he worked out how to use the automatic doors out onto the main road, and then we decided it was time to put him in daycare. But my kids are 13 and 9 now, and they have literally grown up here at the centre. Yeah.
So if I was going to ask you what family meant to you, you'd probably say it's the centre for you, largely.
It's a lot of that. I'm from over east. I'm not local to Albany, so all my family is over east. Unfortunately, I've lost both my parents now, and I can safely say that Mary is our president and Jan, who's our treasurer, have turned into my surrogate mums over the years and looked after me when I needed them, which has been more times than I care to admit. But, you know, we've been through a lot together over the last 10 years, and not all of it has been easy. And our relationships have been strained a few times and pushed to their limits with things that have happened. But, you know, we've made it to this point, which was always our aim, was to give the centre a future. And, you know, we couldn't have done that without really working as a family and being a team. And that's what I'm most proud of out of all the things that we've done, is we've made it to the end together.
And I think we've got to remember that Taryn is still here because the centre means so much to her. And that's why Ali, the secretary, also, I roped her in all those years ago while we're still here as well, because every time we're there, oh no, that's it, we've had enough. We think, no, we can't really just drop it. We can't. It's not possible.
No.
So.
And what's it been like being being Taryn's surrogate?
It's fine. We're just sort of glad we haven't got a horse paddock out the back. Otherwise we would have had to have horses to babysit.
So I'm just trying to read between the lines.
Taryn's big into horses.
Okay.
So there's pony foals and things happening.
Oh.
My family.
Do they come in here as well?
No,
that's what I said. We're lucky we haven't got a horse paddock out the back. Yeah. We drew the line at
my family extends every year.
Maybe as
just with the four-legged.
As we grow, we could put a horse paddock out the back, and the oldies can have a ride in a little cart.
Oh, Jeremy would think that was awesome if you got rid of one. I really enjoy the fact that people feel that Chorus is, you know, a community and a family, and also that sometimes our families feel part of Chorus as well. You know, many of our partners or extended families or kids might not come into Chorus often, but they often feel very much a part of the organisation. I know Carrie in our marketing team, her daughter very much feels part of Chorus and regularly kind of plays that role of being, you know, one of us, which is, I love that. I really, really enjoy hearing those stories. And for me, as a mother and you know, as someone who has a career, I think it's really important to have an organisation that really walks the talk when it comes to having a family and a life and a career. I think as our CEO, who's a man and a father and a husband, you set a fantastic vision for us, and you role model really well.
And it goes back to the kind of family that I want to have, and that we were describing at the start, and that many of the people in this podcast have talked about, the kind of family life that they want to be able to live. And seeing it from a sort of cultural perspective, we talk at Chorus about bringing a fresh approach to community service, to working closely in local neighbourhoods and understanding the human, not treating people like numbers and not being obsessed with the sort of transactional nature of our work. So if we're serious about that, we've got to be serious about the fact that people exist in families of one structure or another, and work needs to sort of plug into that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that probably wraps us up for this episode, which has been very enjoyable.
It has. It's been great. Thanks, Lou.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for listening to Chorus Voices, the podcast brought to you by Chorus. If you like our show and wanted to know more, check out our website at chorus.org.au. And please leave a review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps others find us and enjoy the podcast as well. Join us next time for more inspiring stories and news from our community. Chorus, a fresh approach to community service.